Okay guys, my wife Jasmin Jeffery joins me today to discuss today's topic, which was a requested topic from the Instagram post that I put out today, which is how to coach your partner. So coaching your significant other. I thought this would be a good one to cover. One, because we haven't covered it before. Two, because it's something that we previously failed at, but this time have been successful in doing so. So far, via basically adhering to a pretty structured scheme, which is something that we didn't do in the past. So we haven't planned any of this, but we're gonna tell you guys how we have managed to make this work, and also how that's led into Jazz having probably one of your most successful preps to date. I don't think you've ever been in this condition, at this proximity to a show, eating this much food and doing so little, with everything so well managed, which is one of the benefits of your significant other coaching you. The fact that I can see everything all day and make minor tweaks and adjustments based on every little bit of biofeedback. But maybe I could open the floor to you as a client, because any coach watching this knows that the client has to first be coachable for you to coach them. What did you need to do in order for this relationship to work?
Should we talk about like why it didn't work first? That's probably the best way.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah.
Like, I can't remember when. I think it was maybe 2019 or 2020. I think it was 2019ish that we were trying.
I think it might have even been earlier than that, but it doesn't matter.
Oh really?
Come on.
Like, okay, so I think our relationship wasn't like as developed as it is now, and I think like talking from just like my point of view and just me being honest with myself, I don't think I was coachable. Like I was very much like on the defensive, and I think that's been from previous like relationships I've had with men. I go instantly into very like reactive and defensive, and I think I had to get through some of that myself, if that makes sense, and kind of work through that before then allowing my husband, because it takes me to be able to basically shut up and do what I am told. And I think previously I just wasn't in the position that I was going to listen. I was going to be defensive, and I think it was just because it wasn't anything to do with your coaching. It was just my mindset about how reactive I was. Does that make sense?
First point would be to approach the relationship with a degree of emotional detachment. So if your coach is going to critique something, not necessarily critique or ask you to pick up on something, or we need to turn up the heat on this, or you need to make sure that you're doing this, not looking at that as a critique of you as a person emotionally, which is very natural in a relationship, but rather looking at it as an objective critique only with the end goal of physique development, right? That's number one. I would say number two, to make the next point, and without making this extremely long, maybe should we keep this to 5 points?
You can try.
So number two would be, make sure you are actually a coach, right? So just because you are a bodybuilder or a competitor, or you follow coaches and whatnot, doesn't mean you understand female physiology, the female endocrine system, and the huge variety of implications that come into coaching a female. So this is one for the men out there. Don't coach your girlfriend just because you do a bit of bodybuilding. If you care about your partner's health and well-being, then make sure that they are working with a coach that really understands female physiology well.
Yeah, I think I do agree with that. And I think like the moment for me, like where I realised that I should have gone to you a lot earlier, but I think I had to make sure that I was in a position to listen and trust you, even though I did trust you, but just full on, just kind of, as you say, like emotionally detach and just do, instead of like overthinking. And I think for me personally, when it got to the point with my previous coach where I was coming to you about everything, like supplementation, the way things were around like my cycle, food, training, like quite a few things I was constantly every single week saying, Joe, watch this, Joe, watch that. And whether he said yes or no, I would follow your lead. I wouldn't actually follow the coach's lead. And that's when it kind of got to the point I thought, this is ridiculous. Like, I just need to, oh, hello dogs. This is when I need to just like let you take over. And I think another benefit for me being, going into a prep, being so tall, I think having a coach where they didn't see me in person, like I think it's going to be advantageous to have you like directly work alongside me and being able to see me. Oh my god, these dogs are just hilarious.
It's just normal life here. It's just normal life.
Again.
Let it roll.
So one thing I was maybe unsure of, like I didn't want it to be talking about my check-in and my physique like every single minute of the day, if that makes sense. And I think previously we spoke about it too much. I think that's the reason why it potentially didn't work very well. Whereas the way it works now is it tends to be a Saturday that I check in with you. I don't even tell him when I've checked in. I literally just send you everything like I usually do. And then it kind of depends. Like sometimes we sit down and we talk about it. Sometimes I'm on the road, so he will do. I think you've given me like 2 like formal video check-ins. But I think the main thing is like not talking about it like all the time. I think that's where we went wrong previously.
Yep. So my next point was going to be, assuming that you are a coach, you already have a system for doing your check-ins. Stick to that system, the system that you know, because my system allows me. I've developed my system over multiple years of coaching where I'll look at the photos and then I'm looking at the biofeedback, and then I'll look at the phase specific goals, like what did we want to see from microcycle to microcycle? Are we doing what we need to do to see that happen over the next microcycle, etc., etc. That's the way that I am able to rationally and objectively assess information and make balanced decisions. Now, if we were going to do something like, right, I'm going to look at you in person and then I'm going to decide what to do based on this, you take yourself out of your process, it's going to throw you off inevitably. So stick to your process that you're used to coaching your clients with, because you should already be coaching your clients in the best way possible anyway.
Dogs have left now.
Dogs have gone.
I really can't think of anything else.
Well, we could leave it there. So we could sum up. Emotional detachment from the process. Understand that it is a means to an end of physique development, number 1. And not a personal attack or critique on the character of the individual in the relationship. Number 2 was make sure that you have a thorough understanding of female physiology, endocrinology, biomechanics. If you're going to be programming for all of these areas, and you understand the various implications of those and the potential deleterious effects of the decisions that you're going to be making down the line, which are unavoidable to some degree within physique competitions. Number 3, as a coach, stick to your check-in process. Do not deviate from that and try and do some wacky stuff in person and whatnot.
Do you think you'll do like in-person stuff like peak week?
Well, I do anyway.
Yeah. So. Love our dogs.
Super professional, these videos, but yeah, I mean, I do that in person, don't I? I make sure that I see all of my clients from like 3 or 4 weeks out that I can, so that'll be done, but it'll be done in a structured fashion. You won't be like, hey, come here a minute, let me have a look. It'll be the way that it's meant to be.
I think also as well, like, don't feel the pressure like you have to have this set up, because like we didn't do it for ages because it just wasn't the right time in our relationship to do that. So like, I think sometimes there is kind of like, I always got asked, well, why doesn't Joe coach you? Why doesn't Joe coach you? And it's like, I wasn't ready to be coached by him. And I don't think we were ready. Like, we just hadn't nailed like our communication and all that sort of stuff. So I just think don't feel the pressure to be coached by your other half if it's just not the right time, because previously it wasn't the right time, whereas now it works amazingly. So yeah, I think that's another thing to mention.
And potentially just to close on some recommendations of educational resources for men that are coaching their girlfriends, wives, whatever, partners. as I mentioned, female physiology, female endocrinology is vastly different from that of a male's. I always say this, that women aren't just small men and they cannot be treated as such. So just to give some broad recommendations, the women's book, all of the volumes of the women's book by Lyle McDonald are excellent and are a must read. My tier 3 clients know this one. You've all read it. Lyle McDonald recently has introduced private consultations as well. He really is the master on all things female, birth control related and whatnot. I do have a long form lecture on birth control on the Physique Collective forum as well, if you want to have a look at that. For biomechanics, people like James Sutton, Callum Raystrick, Luke Hoffman of the Muscle Mentors, they're the guys that I go to, that I consult with on all things biomechanics. And for female performance enhancing drug use, book a consultation with me, and if they're not available, ask any questions on the forum and I'm happy to answer them for you guys.
I think it's just nice for me. I know 100% that, you know, you've got my best intentions at heart at every single stage, and I don't think I took full advantage of the knowledge that's in your head.
Oh, thank you.
Until I got coached by you. And then I knew it anyway because I see you with the work you do, but I didn't fully appreciate it until I started working with you directly, if that makes sense.
Wow, this has turned into a blowing my head up session in here now.
I know.
Well, thank you.
Chill. But this prep, it might not be like this every single time because the body is different. However, from this prep that we've been doing, I have been so surprised how well it's gone. And it's just nice that I don't have to worry about anything because I just know it's handled.
And on that note, if you guys would like to see future videos on what we've done specifically different in the past, please let us know and we can do those. I think it's specifically training that's been quite a big change, so maybe we could go through exactly how we programmed your training and stuff. That would be cool. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, as always, put them up on the Physique Collective forum. Jasmin is a member at the Physique Collective forum despite her sparse amount of posts on there. So if you have any questions for either of us, just put them on there. Any content requests from Jasmin, I'll get her to get them done. Thanks, guys.
Oh, don't leave me hanging.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.